Hello there, and welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect. Last time we left off, Karen had decided to go to the planet Feros to investigate what Saren was doing there with the Geth and their activity there, and sort of ended up being attacked by a cult, to put it bluntly. There was a plant-based creature called the Thorian with psychic powers that took over people's minds and drove them crazy, and there were some weird zombie creatures. Long story short, everybody died. We killed the Thorian, and we found out that Saren kind of wanted its mind control powers a little bit. So after all that, Karen, I think, has decided to take a little bit of a break, and is just going to wander around the ship and chat to the crew a little bit to see how they're holding up after the last little excursion. So we're currently here in the engine room, and we'll have a chat with Tally.
Oh, hello, Shepard.
Well, we already kind of disagree with Tally, with her view on things. Let's find out what's up with her.
Are you okay?
I don't know. Your ship is amazing, and your crew's been really great to me, especially your chief engineer. But I just sort of feel out of place. The Normandy runs so smooth it feels like we're not even moving, and the engines are so quiet. How do you sleep at night?
I don't know, I just sort of manage.
You'll get used to it.
But it's more than just the silence. This ship feels so empty. It's like half the crew is missing. Back home, I couldn't wait to go on my pilgrimage. I couldn't wait to get away from the crowds. Now that I'm out here, I kind of miss them.
Okay. But you decided to come along with us, so stay focused on the mission, Tally. If you want to go back, then go back.
I need my crew to be in top form. I can't have you daydreaming about going home.
Don't worry, Shepard. I know what's at stake. If we don't stop Saren, I won't have a home to go back to. I'll be ready when you need me.
How do you feel about the Geth? We just killed a lot of them on the last planet.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Well, we kind of know the story about how they turned on them, but I feel like there's probably more to learn here. And, you know, the more you know about your enemy, the better we might be able to defend ourselves against them.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
Well, that didn't really turn out well for you.
You had to know it would blow up in your face.
The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
The hell's the neural network?
So the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
Kind of like a hive mind.
So there's some sort of group consciousness.
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
So how come they turned on you in the end?
What made them rebel?
As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I mean, why? Surely you wanted AI.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
Kinda should have expected it. I can see both sides of the argument, but...
You didn't really think they'd just let you destroy them without a fight, did you?
The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile, searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
I mean, they defended themselves, but it also serves them right for sort of attacking. I can understand the Quarian's viewpoint. And Karen sort of admires the ruthlessness.
You got what you deserved.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place. But we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
Not all of us.
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
Well, fair dues. So that's kind of the upbringing of the Geth. We should probably learn a bit more about the Quarians then, because it's a bit of a ethical quandary that Karen's got going on here. On the one side, she admires the ruthlessness of the Quarians, who to just sort of take out the Geth before they could uprise. But it was those actions that sort of caused the war in the first place. So tell us more about the Quarian people, and if they're all as ruthless as you paint them out to be.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
Okay, such as?
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
Nice. Get to shagging. What's this conclave you mentioned?
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So there's a democracy, but when in doubt, a captain can make a final say with an iron fist.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
Okay.
I should go.
See you later.
Well, good talk with Tally. We learned a bit more about her people. Should we check in with everyone, see if Engineer Adams has got anything to say? Is the ship doing alright after it was attacked by a horde of mindless cultists?
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on. Probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
Okay, he's just
Carry
going to tell
on,
us about the
Adams.
ship.
Aye, aye, Commander.
I suppose the person to check on the real ship status would be Joker, so we'll go chat with him in a bit. But here we are downstairs. Rex, buddy, how's things?
So, we've got Saren on the run.
Hell yeah.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Good. He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Wait, what? You guys met?
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would've if I thought it was important.
Well, I can't say fairer than that, but still, we'll stand our ground. It's Michael, you are on my ship after all, Rex, as much as we're bros and hoes.
I'll decide what's important. Now tell me how you know Saren.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
Okay, so you were recruited by him.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed his face once. We'd been raiding ships in the area for months when we took out this massive cargo freighter. Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
Doing what?
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. A couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him, so I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
Shit, you know, that's bad when Rex didn't even want to get his payment. Any idea what the cargo was? Maybe that's something that could lead into our little mission.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
And what about the ship?
Whose ship was it?
There was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
So nothing more to
That's
add?
the only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week. Every damn one.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Well, the plot thickens with Rex. Ashley, things are okay on the ship here while I've been away?
Commander?
How's things?
What's your opinion of the last mission?
We lost a lot of the colonists. I don't see how we could have done more, but I still feel bad about it. I mean, we are out here to protect them.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was hoping to get a minute of your time off the record.
Okay. Not for another one of your personal chats, I hope.
It's not normal for an enlisted to speak informally with the commander.
I figured since the crew was so small, you might be more permissive. I mean, that helmsman of yours. Most places, he'd be at captain's mast every day. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
Well, Rex has proven himself, and so has Garrus by now. So you just playing the race card with me here, soldier?
You don't trust their motives because they're not human.
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy. I don't think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
That's enough, Chief. You always second-guess your superiors?
Ma'am, no ma'am. I'm sorry, I was out of line. I'll get back to my duties, Commander.
Yeah, remember your place. I'll make the judgment calls around here. I mean, do you hear that, Garrus?
Commander, how are you?
Why did you want to be a C-Sec officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Okay, let's learn more about Garrus.
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was C-Sec, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
He's not impressed that you're going after Saren?
My father's a C-Sec man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
Oh yeah, Spectre.
You were asked to be a Spectre.
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
Typical fucking Turian, but that's too bad.
Spoken like a true C-Sec officer.
Yeah, it's a speech I've heard one too many times. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, C-Sec's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
Exactly that. See? Garrus gets it.
You're a quick learner, Garrus. We'll beat him at his own game. It's the only way to stop someone like him.
I'm right behind you, Commander.
Nice. Well, I think Garrus might come with us on the next mission. Liara didn't exactly ingratiate herself. We should probably go and chat with her as well. We checked in with 4 of our crew. Who's left? Caden? See if he's got anything interesting to add. Awkward.
Commander, do you have a minute?
I mean, I don't actually, Caden.
Make it quick, Lieutenant. I have a lot on my mind.
This Saren is trading people to aliens for some kind of lost knowledge. But we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
Okay. What do you want me to do about it then?
We've got our orders. Bellyaching won't change them.
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. It's funny, we finally get out here, and the final frontier was already settled. And the residents don't even seem impressed by the view. Or the dangers.
I mean, button it for now. If anything changes, I'll let you know.
I'm sure your letters home are very poignant. Just keep this kind of sentimentality out of the CIC.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry to have wasted your time. I'm right about the mission, though. I know it.
Oh. At least an intelligent thought from Caden. He's speculating things. Anything to add, Doctor?
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
No,
I should
actually.
go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Good talk. Right, Liara, you've probably got some stuff to say after our mind probing.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
Not particularly. You are next to the doctor after all. That's what she's there for.
I just want to talk.
Of course. I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
Yeah, about your mother.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
Or maybe she's just a complete bitch.
Any chance she's in this for power or personal gain?
No, not the Benezia I knew. But I hadn't spoken with my mother in many years. She may have changed.
Okay, well, let's chat about you for a bit.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander.
Well, I could have told you that.
I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Sounds pretty dull, Liara.
Hey, you're right. That doesn't sound very interesting.
On occasion, I have run afoul of indigenous life forms or stumbled across small bands of privateers. That probably does not seem very exciting to someone like you. I guess seeking out history's lost secrets holds a special appeal for me. I would give a century of my life to discover a beacon like the one you found on Eden Prime. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Fascinating? Wait, what? Don't try to study me. I'm not one of your experiments.
I'm not some artifact you can take back to your lab, Doctor.
I am sorry, Commander. I did not mean it like that. I am used to dealing with computers and data disks. I am not very good with people. I let my professional curiosity get the better of me. Please forgive me. Let us talk about something else.
No, I'm done.
Go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
I let you probe around in my brain, and now you want to keep studying me. You can stay the hell on the ship. You're not coming on any more missions. Karen has spoken. Right, we're going to go quickly check in with Joker just to make sure the ship's alright after it was sort of attacked. And then we've checked in with the crew.
Hey, Commander, next time we touch down, let's try not to park the ship in a colony of mutant zombies. Just thinking out loud here.
Ship okay?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Okay, let's just have a quick chin wag, Joker.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
Disease?
I can't have you on this ship if you're going to infect my crew.
Infect the crew? Oh man, you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Okay, we'll learn some more stuff about Joker.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
Okay. So, I think that's going to conclude this part here. Our little catch up with the crew after the foray on Pharos. Join us back here next time where we'll decide where we're going to go to next. If we're going to go off on a couple of different missions or if we're just going to press on to find out what the Geth are up to. See you then.